Every morning she hit snooze. Every time she said maybe later, she wasn't just wasting time, she was writing a story. A story called Almost. Sarah Chin had become an expert at existing. Wake up late, rush through breakfast, endure work, scroll through dinner, promise tomorrow would be different. Her apartment walls held vision boards from 3 new years ago, their edges curling like abandoned manuscripts. She'd wanted to start a photography business, learn Spanish, run that marathon. Instead, she'd mastered the art of comfortable disappointment. The moment that changed everything wasn't dramatic. It was Tuesday afternoon at a coffee shop when she overheard 2 strangers talking. "Did you hear about Mike from high school?" one said. "Just opened his 3rd restaurant. Wasn't he the quiet kid who barely passed?" "Yeah, but he always said he'd do it." "Guess he actually meant it." Sarah stared at her lukewarm latte. Mike. She remembered him. Awkward, determined Mike who everyone thought would amount to nothing. Now he was living his dream while she was, what? Killing time between weekends? That night, unable to sleep, a thought invaded her mind like an uninvited truth. What if someone was reading my life as a book? What chapter am I writing today? She grabbed her phone, not to scroll but to think. Her last year played back like a story nobody would finish reading. Chapter after chapter of Sarah Almost Does Something. The protagonist who never progressed. The plot that never thickened. "Every choice you make is a sentence in your story," she whispered to the darkness. "And I've been writing the same paragraph for 3 years." The next morning, her alarm screamed at 5:30. Her hand reached for snooze, muscle memory of 1,000 mornings. But she caught herself. This was it. The first sentence of a new chapter. She chose to stand. The run was pathetic. 3 blocks before her lungs screamed surrender. But she'd done it. Written a different line. "You're not stuck," she gasped between breaths. "You're just pausing between pages." But the pen is still in your hand. At work, when her boss dumped another mindless project on her desk, old Sarah would have nodded and stewed. New chapter. Sarah spoke up. "I'd like to discuss taking on more creative responsibilities." Her boss blinked, surprised. "Since when do you?" "Since today. Since I decided to stop being a background character in my own story." Small choices compounded. Evening scrolling became online photography courses. Lunch complaints became Spanish practice. Weekend Netflix became morning hikes with her camera. Each decision felt tiny, almost insignificant. But stories aren't built from grand gestures, they're crafted from consistent sentences. Her coworker Janet noticed first. "You seem different lately. Happier." "I realized I wasn't living life, I was editing excuses. So I changed the plot." Must be nice to have that kind of motivation. Sarah shook her head. "It's not motivation. It's just math. Every day I'm writing my story whether I'm conscious of it or not. I can write Sarah watched TV or Sarah edited photos for her portfolio. Both take the same amount of time. One makes a better story." 3 months in, her Instagram photography page had 500 followers. 6 months in, she booked her first paid gig. A year in, she was teaching weekend photography workshops. Not famous, not rich, but finally the protagonist of a story worth telling. Her friend Amy, still stuck in her own loop, asked over coffee, "How did you change everything?" "I didn't change everything. I changed my choices. One sentence at a time." Sarah pulled out her camera, capturing the steam rising from Amy's cup. "You know what I realized? You're the author. So why are you writing a story you don't want to read?" Amy stared at her coffee. "What if I write the wrong story? Then you revise. But at least you're writing. Don't edit your life into a safe draft. Live the version worth publishing." That night, Sarah looked at her walls. The old vision boards were gone, replaced by printed photographs, her photographs. Evidence of choices made, sentences written, chapters completed. Her life wasn't perfect. She still had bad days, still hit snooze sometimes. But now she owned her story. She opened her journal and wrote, "Today I chose growth over comfort 5 times. I said yes to the workshop. I practiced Spanish for 20 minutes. I went for the run. I called mom. I chose to see problems as plot twists, not dead ends." Because here's what Sarah had learned: your biography is being written right now, in this moment, with this choice. You're not stuck in someone else's narrative. You're not waiting for permission to begin. Every decision is a word, every day a page, every year a chapter. No one's writing your legacy for you. Pick up the pen. Some people drift through life hoping for a better story. Others realize they're holding the pen. The difference isn't talent or luck or circumstances. The difference is choice. Your life is a first draft you can't revise later. But you can make today's page worth reading. You can choose the workout over the couch, the conversation over the silence, the risk over the regret. Because when your story ends, and it will end, you want to close that book knowing you weren't just a reader. You were the author. And you wrote something worth remembering. The story of your life isn't written by fate. It's written by the choices you make when no one's watching. Choose well. Make it a story worth rereading.